All right, found something pretty cool on the 69 Grudge car. Why don't you subscribe to the channel, check out my other videos, but before you do that, check out this video. We're going to talk about the plans for the race. All right, before we get started, let's go check out my buddy Craig's dart. Okay, so we're at my buddy Craig's house. I'm going to show you the dart that he's going to spank my ass with a Nova. All right, we're at my buddy Craig's house. This is Craig. This is the dart. We're going to show you around, show you what all it's got done to it, what all he's going to do to it. Okay, this is a 70 dart swinger. It's pretty much stock other than a Magnum 318. It's got some bucket seats. Looks like they come out of a conversion van. I'm just kidding. What are they out of?
They came out of the truck that the engine came out of.
Okay, so they came out of a Dodge Ram. There we go. I see the Ram now. All right, so column shifter, he's going to do something about that. And it's got an 8 3/4 rear end with a 1.5 gear or something like that. I don't know, slow. What gear is in it?
276.
276. But we're both going to be running a 373 gear for the race. All right. Here it is, a stock truck. What year truck?
97, I believe.
Okay, so something like a 97 Ram truck, 318. It's got the Magnum heads on it. It's got a Chinese intake, air gap intake, and got exhaust manifolds on it. What he's going to do, he's going to put headers on it, and he's going to swap the cam out to a flat tappet. I thought he was going to keep a hydraulic roller, but he's going to put a flat tappet in there.
Only because I have one.
Because he already has the cam. So, and we're trying to do this on somewhat of a budget. So he's going to put some exhaust on it, some headers, put a converter in it, and put a gear in it, and a shifter. And then we're going to both put some sticky tires on, and we're going to go racing. Look at there. Cranked right up. All right, I'm gonna drive this dart, see how big of a badass it is, and hopefully we won't die. It's pretty feels like a granny car. It's got a 4-foot steering wheel, so probably the same as a Nova, but you know, it's just real skinny.
Oh God, we're gonna die. The transmission's a lot tighter since I put an extra spring on the kick down, so it holds out a gear for a lot longer than it was doing before.
Got a little pep to it. It wanders a little bit, don't it?
Yeah, it's real twitchy. I don't really care for the way it drives.
Is that in the steering box or is that in the...
Well, the steering box is good and tight. So I don't know the answer to the question.
Okay, so I'm out here in the shop today trying to take a little bit closer look at the 69 Nova that I'm going to build a 307 for and spank my buddy's 318 dart, hopefully. And trying to assess some stuff that's going on. So looked at the roll cage a little bit better, roll bar. All the welds have been ground down kind of smooth on it. It's kind of hard to tell what there is. It's the plates aren't welded fully to the floor. I don't know if I'm going to leave it in there or not. The car is probably going to run 12s at best. I mean, it's a 307. And it's not like I'm spending a lot of money on it. So if I can move the seat back and get comfortable in it, you know, sometimes a bad cage or a bad bar is more dangerous than not having one. I'm not going to need one for a 12-second car. 1099 is the brake where you need a roll bar. So, or an 8-point bar, I guess. I don't know if I'm going to leave it or take it out. I'm going to think about it. Eventually, I'm going to take it out, but for right now, I don't want to put the work into it. I want to get this project moving. We're trying to have this race in the next 45 days to 2 months, somewhere around there at worst. Looking at the rear end on there, I'm going to show you guys what I'm seeing down there. It's an 8.210 bolt. It has traction bars on there. They do not extend all the way to the front spring eye, so I want to change that. I'm going to extend those, add a little bit of material to them, I think, and extend those out. But I don't know if it's posi. I'm fixing to jack that up. We're going to figure it out together. Like I said, it pushed in real easy and turned, and usually on a posi car it's a little stiffer, so I don't know. 8.210 bolts are not very strong. If you've got a hot small block or a big block, you're going to shred the pinion gear, probably usually break that. On this one, I just don't know because, like I said, it pushed real easy, but let's look and find out. Okay, so I see a couple of things here. The axle tube, the axle tubes have been welded, so someone definitely tried to make this 8.2 a little stronger. So I'm going to jack it up, see if the tires will spin forward together. If they won't, then we're going to pop the cover off and see what we're dealing with. Because maybe someone's welded the gears up or something and that broke. It might have a broken posi in it. I'm not sure. We're going to figure it out. All right, let's see if they spin forward together. Well, yes, they do. Looks like I've got an 8.2 posi. That's pretty cool. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pull the cover off this 10 bolt, get the fluid out of it, and see if I've got a posi or if I've got a spool or who knows what's in there, welded up, I don't know. And then I'm going to see what gear's in it and see if there's any rust or anything like that. Like I said, it's been sitting there several years, probably 10 years or more. So I'm going to pull it apart, see what kind of condition everything's in, and maybe I don't have to do anything but extend the traction bars out and put some good shocks on it. We'll see. All right, we found out it's got some type of posi in it. I don't know if it's solid welded, if it's got a spool, or if it's got a posi unit in it. The axle shafts have been welded to the rear end housing. So someone was trying to keep this 8.2 alive. You can see where it's been welded up right there, fully welded, so that's good. We'll get the cover off of it real quick and see what we're dealing with. I'm going to put one back in so I can hold the cover on without dumping it all out at one time. I'm really hoping it's got a good gear in it and the rust, and it hasn't got a ton of rust on the gear. That's what I'm hoping. Well, I don't see any bunch of sparkles coming out with it, so maybe that's a good sign. All right. See if we can get this thing cover off and see what we're dealing with. I am afraid of what I'm going to find, but I'm excited too. Oops. It's a posi unit. Man, that's pretty cool. It's got a factory style posi in it. And man, I don't see a bit of rust anywhere on that rear end. Man, that is fantastic. Okay, one thing that I do see is that it was a 2 series posi and they welded a spacer to the posi unit. I've never seen that done before. That's interesting. And someone's engraved in there what the back spacing and all was. Let's see if I can see probably a Richmond gear. Yep, there's a Richmond gear and there's a number. See if I can get the number off of it, look up and see what kind of gear we got here. Okay, it's a really old ring gear. The number isn't a good number anymore from what I could find. I looked it up. That's a 411 gear. So, shoot, yeah. Apparently it's still got C-clips in it. So I'm going to pop the wheels off and see if it's got eliminators on it. But either way, we're going to look and see. Okay, so I'm going to pop this wheel off. There's no drum on this side. I'm going to pop this wheel off and see if it's got any kind of C-clip eliminator on it or a bolt-in axle or what. Okay, it ended up having regular axles in it, stock axles. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably, you know, I had enough parts laying around to put together another 8.5, and I was going to have to buy C-clip eliminators for that rear end because the housing ends have been cut off. So this one, I don't want to cut the housing ends off this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to order a set of Moser C-clip axles for this rear end. That way I don't have to worry about breaking an axle. And 8.2 is not terribly strong, but breaking an axle is catastrophic if you have that happen. I'll worry less about the rear end breaking and more about the axle breaking. So I'm going to order a set of Moser axles for this, and then put some new wheel bearings in it, clean the brakes up, put them all back together, put some new fluid in the rear end, and we'll call the rear end done. And then I'll figure out how to extend my traction bars up to the spring eye. See if I can get those. They're not J-bolt traction bars, they're some really old traction action bars or something like that. So or Lakewood bars. I'll figure something out on those. Okay, so I really had no idea this thing was hiding a posi unit and a 411 gear. Now it is an 8.2 10 bolt, and they're not that strong. But I don't think a 307 is going to hurt it. Yeah, it's going to have sticky tires on it. But like I said, I'm going to change the axles. That way I don't have to worry about an axle breaking. I've seen that happen at the track. The tire, the brakes, everything comes out from under the car with a C-clip axle when it breaks. So I don't want that to happen. So if I put a tougher axle in it, a brand new Moser axle or something like that, I'm not going to have to worry about that. Now, this quarter panel is going to get changed. It's almost all the way off now. It's just got to be cut around the wheel lip, around the jamb, and around the rocker panel, and at the very end of the taillight panel. Now this taillight panel really does need to be replaced, but I don't want to get into a whole lot of body work. I want to get the car together so we can go race. So what I'm thinking about doing is just when I get the new quarter panel on here, clean up the taillight panel the best I can and just barely tack the quarter in at these areas and have it attached normally at the front. You guys let me know if you think I should go ahead and change this out while I'm here. I also have to change this deck filler panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack this one in here too, just in case, because I probably want to change this quarter out, but I don't want to do it yet. I'm trying to move things along. Okay, so the roll cage isn't as scary as I first thought it was. These plates just need to be welded all the way, and then I'll check all the welds and add a little bit of weld to some of it that's been ground on. So it's not that bad, and like I said, I don't need it for a 12-second car. As far as the front end goes, I'm going to rebuild the drum brakes, put a new master cylinder and distribution block on it, new brake lines if I need to, and then I've got some stock control arms that have been rebuilt with new ball joints, Global West offset shafts, and new control arm bushings. They're going on the front. I've also got the lowers. I just got to put the ball joints in. Now as far as interior, I got to put a steering wheel on it. I got to take this shifter apart, clean it all up, see if I can get it to move. I'm going to leave the seats in it, make sure they're bolted down better. I'm going to move this one back. I'm 6'1". This is a little tight for me. Get a harness in it and get some wiring done. Interior will be ready to go. For the moment, I'm just going to weld this up. I've got a shrinker and a stretcher. I'm going to bend me up some 18-inch sheet metal. Make me a little piece that fits in there, weld it up. I am going to have to fix the dash because it's rusty, but that'll get me good enough to get a windshield in it. I'll seal up the firewall, and hopefully by the time I get all that done, the block will be back from the machine shop along with my crank rods and pistons. Okay, go check out some of my other videos now. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos, leave me a comment. Frankenova's coming along. Check out the videos on that. The motor is being assembled probably the next day or so. I've got everything I need for that. Got the transmission already. The converter has been ordered. I'm spending too much money. So anyway, see you next video. Thanks guys.